The year was 2234, and the galaxy had changed, but humans had not forgotten how to survive. For more than 100 years, Earth had lived in uneasy peace with the other species of the Galactic Council. Trade ships moved between worlds, scientists shared discoveries, and ambassadors smiled for the cameras. But under the smiles, there was tension. Many alien leaders believed humans were too stubborn, too independent, too dangerous. They thought Earth was only peaceful because it was weak. They were wrong. For decades, Earth had quietly followed the Council's rules. Those rules limited the size of our fleets, restricted the weapons we could build, and forced us to share our technology. Humans had signed the treaties, but only because we wanted time to grow, to learn, and to prepare. Hidden deep in the oceans, under the polar ice caps, and even buried inside mountains, Earth had been building something no one outside our world knew about. Every ship was disguised. Every weapon was stored in silence, waiting for the day it would be needed. The tension reached its breaking point when the Galactic Council sent a demand that shocked even the calmest politicians on Earth. They wanted humanity to dismantle what little fleet we had left, hand over our planetary defense systems, and place our colonies under supervision. In simple words, they wanted us under their control. Many council members argued that humans were too unpredictable and should be contained. The decision was made without even asking for Earth's vote in the capital city of Geneva. The United Earth government met in emergency session. The mood was heavy. Some leaders wanted to protest peacefully. Others wanted to submit to avoid war. But a few voices that had waited a long time said it was time to remind the galaxy who we were. Among them was Captain Darius Cole, the man who had faced more alien fleets than anyone alive. He was not a politician. He was a soldier, and he had no patience for arrogance. When Cole stepped into the council chamber on the neutral planet of Avarice, every alien delegate stared at him. Many of them had laughed at the news that Earth was sending a war hero instead of a diplomat. They were expecting a speech filled with apologies. They did not get one. Cole walked to the center of the room, stood tall, and looked every leader in the eye. His voice was calm, but there was something in it that made even the loudest alien fall silent. "You think Earth has shown you everything we have," he began, "but you've only seen what we've allowed you to see. You call us dangerous because you don't understand us. You think our history of war makes us reckless? You're wrong. It makes us patient, makes us careful, and makes us very, very good at fighting when we have to." A few delegates muttered in disbelief, but Cole didn't stop. "For a century, we have obeyed your restrictions. We have played by your rules. We have stayed quiet, even when insulted. But if you think that means we are weak, you are about to make the worst mistake in the history of your species. Because the truth is, we've been holding back." The chamber was still. "We have ships you've never seen, weapons you cannot understand, technology you don't even have names for. And we have kept them hidden because we believed in peace. But if you force us to fight, if you push us one step further, we will show you what we've been saving. And when that day comes, no fleet, no army, no empire in this galaxy will be able to stop us." Cole didn't shout. He didn't need to. The quiet confidence in his voice was more frightening than a roar. He left the chamber without waiting for a reply. The council leaders were shaken. Some thought it was an empty threat. Others weren't so sure. But the warning was clear. Humanity was done pretending to be harmless. Back on Earth, words were broadcast to every human colony, every station, every ship. People who had grown tired of being looked down on by other species felt a surge of pride. Soldiers who had waited years for orders to stand ready began preparing. In secret bases, hidden fleets powered up for the first time in decades. Deep under the frozen oceans of Europa, drones the size of cities stirred in the darkness. high above Earth's atmosphere in the shadow of the moon. Warships uncloaked to reveal the black armor of the silent guard. The message was spreading across the galaxy. Some alien worlds laughed at it. They believed humans were bluffing, that Earth had nothing special, that the warning was just human arrogance. But on a few planets, especially those whose scouts had gone missing in human territory, fear began to take root. In the darkness of space, where no one could see, the first wave of human stealth fleets began to move. Not to attack, but to be in position, because if the Council ignored the warning, the moment to strike would come fast. And this time, Earth would not fight for survival. It would fight to win. The galaxy didn't know it yet, but a storm was coming. And humanity had been waiting a very long time to let it break. The Council did not take the warning seriously. In the weeks after Captain Darius Cole's speech, some alien news networks mocked his words, calling them human drama. Others called Earth desperate, a small planet trying to act like a superpower. But there were those in the Council who thought differently, those who feared that Cole had spoken the truth. Unfortunately, their voices were ignored. It happened on a quiet morning in the colony of New Horizon, a human settlement on the edge of explored space. The sun had just risen over the tall silver buildings when the first alien warships appeared in the sky. They belonged to the Velkari Coalition, one of the strongest military alliances in the galaxy. The Velkari were known for testing the strength of others by force, and they had decided to test Earth. They claimed it was a simple inspection, but the fleet that arrived was armed for war. Without warning, the Velkari ships opened fire on New Horizon's defense towers. Missiles rained down, shattering roads and bridges. Civilian shuttles trying to escape were shot from the sky. The people screamed and ran for shelter, but there was no place to hide from the firepower of an entire alien armada. Within an hour, half the colony was in flames. The Velkari commander sent a short transmission to Earth. "This is the cost of your arrogance. Submit, or the rest of your colonies will share this fate." Back on Earth, the United Earth government did not respond. With fear, they did not send pleas for peace. Instead, a single coded order was sent out to the fleets hidden across human space. The order was short 3 words that every captain had trained for: Silent Sun, KEF. The galaxy had never heard of the Silent Sun program. It had never been spoken of in treaties, never been shown in military parades. Even many human citizens didn't know it existed. But the Velkari were about to learn. At the edge of the New Horizon system, something flickered in the void. Small, black objects appeared, almost invisible against the stars. They were no bigger than cargo containers, but inside each one was technology far beyond alien understanding. The Silent Sun devices locked onto the Velkari fleet, and within seconds, a pulse of energy spread like ripples through space. It was not a blast. It was not a weapon that tore ships apart. It was quiet, almost gentle. But one by one, the Velkari warships went dark. Their engines shut down. Their weapons froze. Most terrifying of all, their life support systems stopped, placing every crew member into deep stasis instantly, as if they had simply fallen asleep. The attack had lasted less than a minute. From the ground, the people of New Horizon watched in shock as the massive fleet drifted silently above them. Not a single human shot had been fired. The ships just floated, powerless, like ghosts. Rescue teams from hidden human bases moved in quickly, towing the alien vessels away before the Council could react. The Velkar soldiers would wake up days later in safe locations, confused and humiliated, their memories of the event blurry. The news spread faster than light. Whole alien civilizations argued about what had happened. Some refused to believe humans had such technology, claiming the Velkari had simply suffered a mechanical failure. Others whispered that the silent sun was only one of many secret weapons Earth had hidden. In the council chamber, the Valkyrie ambassador demanded answers. "This was an act of war," he shouted. "You used forbidden technology." But the human ambassador simply replied, "We defended our people. No one died. That is more mercy than your fleet showed us." Behind closed doors, alien generals met in private. They replayed recordings of the event, trying to understand the human weapon. No known science could explain how it worked. No known defense could block it. If Earth truly had more devices like the silent sun, then the balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted overnight, back on Earth. Captain Cole stood on the observation deck of the command station, watching the distant stars. He knew the Valkyrie incident was only the beginning. The Council had been warned, and now they had been shown a glimpse of the truth. But there was still a dangerous question. Would this frighten them into peace, or push them into a larger war? In the streets of New Horizon, people began rebuilding, but the fear had not gone away. Parents held their children close, knowing that the Valkyrie were not the only ones who might come. But there was also a new feeling in the air pride. For the first time in years, humans had not been victims. They had fought back and won, without a single life lost. The silent sun devices were recovered, cleaned and stored again, ready for the next call. Their very existence was now a message to the galaxy. If you attack humanity, you will not like the answer. And somewhere, far from any known trade routes, deep in a dark sector of space, another human fleet powered up its engines. The order had not been given yet, but the captains knew it was coming. The Council would not stay quiet. And when they came again, Earth would be ready to show even more of what it had been hiding all along. The Valkyrie defeat should have been enough to make the galaxy step back, but instead it had the opposite effect. The Council called for an emergency meeting. Alien leaders from dozens of worlds gathered in a huge chamber under the pale blue light of Avaris Prime. They spoke in angry voices, accusing humans of hiding illegal technology, of breaking the ancient disarmament treaties. Some even claimed the silent sun was a weapon so dangerous that Earth should be punished before it could be used again. The human ambassador listened to the shouting without saying much. He knew Captain Darius Cole's warning had been ignored, and now the galaxy was moving toward open conflict. While the Council argued, Earth's hidden military machine began to move faster. Orders were sent to every secret base, every shadow fleet, every covert listening post far away in the frozen deserts of Mars. Vast hangar doors opened for the first time in over a century. Inside them were ships disguised as mining rigs, huge black vessels covered in layers of dust and rock to hide their true shapes. They powered up quietly, their engines glowing with a deep blue light. From the surface, they looked like ordinary asteroid haulers leaving orbit. But if someone scanned them closely, they would have seen the outlines of rail cannons the size of city blocks in the oceans of Earth. Hundreds of meters beneath the waves, sleeping giants awoke. Submersible carriers built long before most humans alive were born rose from the deep. These ships could launch fighter craft directly from the water, making them invisible to orbital scans until the very last second. Around them swam autonomous drone swarms, shaped like schools of fish but armed with enough firepower to sink a battleship. Even on alien worlds where humans had colonies, Earth had left its fingerprints. On the lush planet of Viridian, where humans and the reptilian juror lived side by side, an ordinary trade warehouse was revealed to be a forward operations base. Walls folded away to show racks of stealth missiles. Roofs opened to release atmospheric interceptors. The alien neighbors were stunned. They had no idea. These things had been under their noses for years. But the most shocking reveal came from the asteroid belts near Proxima Centauri. For decades, everyone believed the rocks there were nothing. more than mining sites worked by slow, old cargo drones. In truth, the asteroids themselves were part of the disguise, hollowed out and filled with weapon systems. When the command came, the rocks split open, revealing human battleships with hulls covered in armor as black as empty space. All of this happened without the Council's knowledge. The aliens believed the Silent Sun was humanity's only hidden ace, but now Earth was lifting the curtain, piece by piece. Not by broadcasting threats, by quietly letting certain ships be seen on long-range scanners. Alien intelligence networks began to panic. Reports poured in of human fleets that should not exist, weapons that could pierce planetary shields, drones that could move between stars without using known hyperspace lanes. On the bridge of the flagship, Resolute, Captain Cole stood with his officers, watching the galaxy's reaction through intercepted transmissions. "They think we've revealed everything," his tactical officer said with a smirk. "But this is only 10% of what we've got." Cole didn't smile. "It's enough for now," he replied. "We want them scared, not desperate. Desperate enemies do stupid things." The Council's military branches began recalling their own fleets, moving them away from human space. Some worlds even went into lockdown, afraid of what might be hiding in their own systems. Merchants complained that trade routes were collapsing. Spies tried to infiltrate human defenses but never returned. The more the galaxy tried to understand, the less they seemed to know. Meanwhile, Earth's citizens began to realize the scale of what had been kept secret from them. In cities across the homeworld, massive orbital elevators started moving cargo into space at a rate no one had ever seen before. People could look up at night and see new shapes crossing the sky, dark triangles that blotted out the stars. Governments told civilians nothing, but the rumors spread. "We are going to war. And this time, we're not the underdog." Among the alien populations, fear turned into grudging respect. Stories of human battles in ancient times circulated on alien newsnets. Old records showed how humans had survived ice ages, global plagues, and to near extinction events before even leaving their planet. Now they had technology forged from that history of struggle, and it was aimed at the stars. In the council chamber, one elder species, the Cathari, spoke in a low, trembling voice. "We thought they were playing a game. We thought they were children at a table of kings. But they are the wolves at the edge of the firelight, and they have been watching us for far longer than we have been watching them." Still, there were those who believed Earth was bluffing. One warlord, a powerful figure in the Dravic Empire, declared that he would personally lead a fleet into human space to expose the lie. He claimed that no matter what tricks the humans had, they would fall like any other prey. His declaration would set the stage for what was coming next, a battle that would show the galaxy exactly why humans had been feared in the first place. Far from the political chambers, in the black quiet between stars, humanity's fleets continued to reposition. Cloaked scouts reported on every alien ship movement. Defense grids were brought online around colonies, but still kept hidden from scanners. The galaxy didn't know it yet, but every move they made was already being watched. Every fleet already targeted, every world mapped for a strike that could come without warning. The curtain had only just begun to lift. But for the first time, the galaxy was starting to understand Earth had never been weak. It had simply been waiting for the right moment to stop pretending. That moment was getting closer with every passing day. The day came when Captain Darius Cole decided that words were no longer enough. The warnings had been given. The galaxy had seen a glimpse of what humanity could do. But still, the Council whispered about punishing Earth. Some species were already forming alliances in secret, preparing for a war they thought they could win if they struck first. Cole knew that if humans kept waiting, the first blow would not come from them, would come from the Council. And when it came, it would be against civilians so without asking for permission from Earth's politicians. Cole sent out a single command to the hidden fleets: assemble. Across the solar system, ships began to move. War carriers rose from beneath the oceans, battleships uncloaked from asteroid fields. Stealth destroyers slipped out from under the shadow of moons. The movement was fast, silent, and precise. Within 3 days, the largest human fleet ever assembled was waiting in deep space. Hundreds of ships floated in perfect formation, their hulls black and sharp, their weapon systems hot and ready. No music, no speeches, no grand parades, just the cold readiness of professionals who knew exactly why they were there. Cole stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute, looking at the tactical map. The destination was set: the Council's homeworld. Hellion Prime. The journey took less than a day using the newest jump drives the galaxy didn't even know humans had perfected. The moment they dropped out of hyperspace, the fleet appeared in the skies above Hellion Prime like a shadow falling across the world. The planet was a jewel of white clouds and green oceans, protected by one of the most advanced defense networks in the galaxy. But as Cole had predicted, the defenses were built to stop ordinary threats, not what humanity had brought. The planetary scanners detected the human ships instantly, and alarms began to scream. Orbital gun platforms rotated, shield arrays activated, and interceptor squadrons launched from the surface. But before a single shot was fired, Cole gave the order: disable them. From the Resolute and dozens of other ships, beams of shimmering blue light lashed out. These were not laser weapons, they were disruption streams, tuned to shut down systems without harming organic life. The Council's mighty defense grid went dark in under 8 minutes. Every orbital cannon stopped moving. Every shield array collapsed. Every interceptor fell back toward the planet. Powerless, the citizens of Hellion Prime ran to their windows and rooftops to see what was happening. Above them, the black silhouettes of human ships hung in the sky, silent and unmoving, like predators, watching their prey. There was no bombing, no fire, no destruction. Just the quiet proof that if humanity wanted, they could take the planet in hours. Cole opened a channel to every communication frequency on the planet. His face appeared in the skies on massive holographic screens, his voice steady and calm. "This is not conquest," he said. "This is a lesson. We told you we have been holding back. You chose not to believe us. Now you have seen for yourselves." In the council chamber, the alien leaders sat frozen, watching the human fleet's every move. Some of them wanted to order an immediate counterattack, but their military advisors whispered the truth: there was nothing to counter with. The entire defense network was offline, and no one knew how to restart it while the human ships were in control. Cole continued, his eyes hard. "We are not here to destroy you. We are not here to rule you. But if you ever threaten our people again, if you ever attack our colonies or demand our surrender, this will not be the end of what you see. This will be the beginning." Then, without another word, the human fleet began to withdraw. One by one, the ships turned and vanished into hyperspace, leaving Hellion Prime's defenses dead and its leaders speechless. The entire operation had taken less than an hour. Not a single life had been lost. The message spread through the galaxy like fire. Even those who hated humans could not deny what they had just done. No one had ever walked into the heart of the Council's power and left untouched, but humanity had done it without firing a killing shot. It was a show of dominance, but also a show of restraint. The galaxy now understood that the warnings were not bluffs. They were promises. Back on Earth, the fleet returned to their hidden bases, the ships vanishing once again into oceans, asteroid belts, and deep planetary vaults. Cole knew the mission was a success, but he also knew it had changed everything. The galaxy would no longer see humanity as weak, but they would also see them as a threat. That could bring peace. Or it could bring a storm bigger than anything humanity had faced before. And far away, in the darker corners of space, certain warlords and power-hungry leaders were already plotting their next move, unwilling to accept the idea of humans holding such power. Cole understood what that meant. The lesson had been taught, but the test was still coming. After the human fleet left Helion Prime, the galaxy was in shock. The Council's strongest world had been brought to its knees without a single casualty, and the attackers had simply left. No one could understand why. Some alien leaders said it was arrogance. Others whispered that it was a warning. But the real question spreading through every star system was simple. How did humans become like this? Curiosity turned into fear as historians, analysts, and spies across the galaxy began digging into Earth's past. Many aliens assumed humanity had risen quickly, building power in just a few centuries. But the deeper they looked, the more they discovered a history unlike any other species, a history written in survival, in fire, and in blood. The first surprise for the galaxy was the number of wars humans had fought before even leaving their homeworld. The archives spoke of world wars where almost every nation on Earth fought at once, with weapons so destructive they could turn entire cities into rubble in seconds. Aliens found old images of mushroom clouds rising into the sky and could barely believe them. For most species, the use of such weapons would have ended their civilization forever. But humanity had rebuilt, not once, but tens. Then came the disastrous ice ages that froze the planet for centuries, plagues that wiped out millions, meteor impacts that darkened the skies. The galaxy realized something important. Humans were not simply warriors, they were survivors. Every time the planet tried to kill them, they adapted. Every time they came close to extinction, they came back stronger. In the vast libraries of the Cathari Empire, scholars uncovered records of the age of exploration, when humans crossed dangerous oceans in fragile wooden ships just to see what was on the other side. They found stories of soldiers holding a single hill against thousands, explorers climbing mountains so high that the air itself could kill, and rescue crews diving into burning buildings to save strangers. Aliens began to see that human bravery was not only for battle, it was in their blood, part of their very nature. But there was a darker side too. They learned about the silent wars of the 21st and 22nd centuries, where nations fought not with open armies, but with spies, assassinations, and invisible weapons. They saw how humans could be patient, how they could wait decades for the right moment to strike. The concept of holding back suddenly made sense. For many alien species, war was rare and short. Disputes were settled quickly, or through ritual battles with rules. But humans had fought wars that lasted generations. They had fought not for honor or tradition, but for survival, for resources, for ideals, and sometimes simply because they refused to lose. And they almost never surrendered. In the council chambers, a quiet panic began to grow. If humanity had done all of this while isolated on one planet, what could they do with the entire galaxy as their battlefield? The Velkari ambassador, still humiliated from his people's defeat, warned others, "You think they are strong now? This is nothing." Their history shows what happens when they are pushed too far. When they fight with everything, they do not stop until the enemy is gone. Some tried to calm the fear, saying that humans had also created art, music, and philosophy that rivaled the greatest works of the galaxy. That they had sent rescue ships to alien worlds during disasters without asking for payment. That they had a capacity for compassion as deep as their capacity for violence. But too many leaders, that made them even more dangerous. A species that could be both protectors and destroyers was unpredictable, and unpredictability was terrifying. Meanwhile, among ordinary aliens across the galaxy, opinions began to shift. merchants who had once looked down on human traders started, greeting them with more respect. Alien soldiers who had once mocked humans began studying their tactics. On frontier worlds, colonists quietly said they felt safer if there was at least one human settlement nearby. The stories spreading now were not just about the Silent Sun or the fleet over Hylian Prime. They were about the long, hard road that had made humans who they were. Back on Earth, Captain Cole read some of the alien news reports. He knew this was good. Fear was a weapon, and the galaxy was now armed with just enough fear to think twice before acting. But he also knew fear could lead to desperation, and desperate enemies would be more willing to gamble everything on one last strike. In hidden strategy rooms beneath the mountains of Earth, human commanders discussed the intelligence reports. There were signs that certain factions in the Council were forming a secret alliance against humanity. The Dravic Empire, still angry at their loss of influence, was gathering allies. Somewhere out there, preparations for the next move were already beginning. Cole's orders to the fleet were simple: keep training, keep hidden, keep ready. The lesson was not over yet. The galaxy had just learned why humans were feared, but they had not yet seen what happened when humans stopped holding back entirely. That moment, Cole thought, was getting closer every day, and in the cold depths of space, in shipyards hidden from every alien scanner. The next generation of human warships was already being built faster, stronger, and more dangerous than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Humanity's history had been uncovered, but the galaxy was about to learn that history was only the beginning. Far from the calm halls of the Galactic Council, deep in a rough and stormy part of the galaxy, the Dravic Empire was preparing to strike. The Dravic were fierce warriors, proud and ruthless, with a long history of conquest and war. They had watched Earth's rise with growing anger and disbelief. To them, humans were nothing but reckless upstarts who needed to be taught a harsh lesson. Their leaders said, "Let them show their strength. We will break it." The Dravic warlord, General Koresh, was a man known for his cruelty and ambition. When he heard of Earth's secret weapons and their powerful fleets, he laughed in disbelief. "They are bluffing," he told his officers. "No species survives by hiding behind tricks. We will attack and crush them quickly before they have a chance to strike." Ignoring warnings from other council members who feared a full-scale war, Koresh gathered a massive fleet. Hundreds of warships, sleek and deadly, filled the space docks of the Dravic home system. Soldiers drilled day and night, preparing for an invasion that would crush Earth and put an end to human defiance once and for all. On Earth, intelligence agents watched the Dravic preparations carefully. They reported everything to Captain Darius, Cole, and the United Earth Command. There was no time to waste. Cole called a meeting of his top officers. "We've been patient," Cole said. "We warned the galaxy. We showed our strength. But now one of the old empires thinks it can crush us before we can respond. It's time to end this." The plan was clear and deadly. Leviathan Protocol. It was the most secret and powerful defense system Earth had ever built, designed for one purpose: to protect humanity at any cost. The protocol combined everything Earth had: massive planetary shields, huge orbital cannons that could destroy entire fleets, and an army of AI-controlled war machines known as Cerberus. As the Dravic fleet jumped into the solar system, the humans were ready. The first thing they saw was a shield so strong it made the entire Earth look like it was covered in a glowing bubble. Missiles fired by the Dravic exploded harmlessly against it. Then came the orbital strike. Cannons, giant weapons on satellites that fired concentrated energy beams. They targeted the leading Dravic ships, vaporizing their hulls instantly. Explosions filled the sky as the enemy fleet lost ship after ship. But the most terrifying part was the Cerberus, thousands of autonomous war machines that moved with deadly precision. They were drones and robotic soldiers that could fight in space, on land, and even underwater. Controlled by advanced AI. They needed no rest and followed their orders without question. The Dravik soldiers found themselves trapped in a nightmare. Every attack they launched was met with a stronger counterattack. Their ships were destroyed before they could fire. Their troops were cut down by unseen machines. The battle became a slaughter. In the command room of the resolute Captain Cole watched the battle unfold on the screens. He remained calm, giving orders to focus fire on the enemy's command ships. "If we destroy their leaders, the rest will fall apart," he said. The fight lasted less than a day. By nightfall, the Dravik fleet was broken. Their survivors retreated, battered and defeated. General Koresh's flagship was destroyed, and the warlord himself was never seen again. The galaxy was stunned. No one had expected humanity to respond with such overwhelming force. The Leviathan Protocol was a game-changer, a reminder that Earth was not just defending itself, they were dominating the battle, but even as the victory was celebrated. Captain Cole knew the cost. The war had only begun. The Dravik defeat would anger other powers. More enemies would rise, and the galaxy would change forever. Yet, for the first time, humanity stood not as victims or outcasts, but as a force to be reckoned with. Their secret. Weapons had become their greatest strength, and they had shown the galaxy that when pushed, humans did not break. They fought back with everything they had and more. The defeat of the Dravik Empire sent shockwaves through the galaxy. In just one day, one of the most feared warrior races had been shattered. Their fleets were gone, their warlord was dead, and their home systems were left vulnerable. News spread faster than light. Every council world received the same message: humans had unleashed their full strength. There was nothing anyone could do to stop them. In the grand halls of the Galactic Council, the mood had changed completely. Just months before, many of these leaders had mocked Captain Darius Cole's warnings. Now, those same leaders whispered in fear about what Earth might do next. Some feared invasion, others feared total destruction. They knew the Dravo had provoked humanity, but they also knew the humans could now strike anywhere they wished. For the first time in centuries, the Council moved quickly. A group of envoys from different species was chosen to travel to Earth. They would carry a message of peace, hoping to calm the storm before it became a galaxy-wide war. These envoys were some of the most skilled diplomats in the galaxy, chosen for their ability to negotiate with even the most stubborn leaders. Still, none of them truly knew what kind of reception they would get. The journey to Earth was tense. As their diplomatic cruiser approached the solar system, they saw the vast network of human defense's massive orbital stations, stealth fleets patrolling the dark, and the shimmering barrier of the planetary shield. Even from a distance, it was clear that humanity had built a fortress no one could break. When the envoys landed in Geneva, they were greeted by armed honor guards, soldiers standing in perfect formation. The city was quiet, but heavily secured. Captain Cole himself waited at the entrance to the council hall, dressed in his black command uniform. His expression was calm, but his eyes were sharp, watching every movement. The lead envoy, a tall, silver-skinned ambassador from the Cathari, stepped forward. "Captain Cole," he said, bowing slightly, "we come in peace. The Council wishes to end this conflict before more lives are lost." Cole's voice was steady. "Conflict. This conflict began when your members attacked our colonies. When they threatened our people when they thought we were weak. We gave warnings. We showed restraint. And still, you chose war." The envoys exchanged uneasy glances. They had prepared speeches about misunderstanding, about rebuilding trust, but Cole's tone made it clear he would not accept empty words. "You came here because you saw what happened to the Dravik," Cole continued. "You came because you now understand that we can reach you anywhere, at any time. This meeting is not for negotiation. It is for terms. The envoys stood in silence as Cole outlined humanity's demands. First, no alien power would ever again send military ships into human territory without permission. Second, all human colonies, no matter how far, would remain fully independent under Earth's protection. Third, any attack on humanity would be treated as an attack on Earth's entire defense network, and the response would be immediate and overwhelming. The Cathari envoy hesitated, and if the Council refuses, Cole's gaze was cold.
Then
We will treat you the same way we treated the Dravik. The difference is, we won't stop at your fleets. There was no shouting, no threats beyond those words. But the weight of them filled the room. The envoys knew the truth humanity could carry out that promise, and no force in the galaxy could stop them. After a long silence, the Cathari envoy nodded. The Council will accept these terms. Cole leaned forward slightly. Good. Then we have peace for now. But remember this, we are not asking for respect. We are demanding it. Break this peace, and you will see what we've truly been holding back. The meeting ended, and the envoys were escorted back to their ship. As they left Earth's atmosphere, they looked down at the planet below a world that had once been seen as just another member of the galaxy, now revealed as something far more dangerous. Back in the Council chambers on Helion Prime, the agreement was signed without delay. The terms were broadcast across every star system, and though many alien citizens grumbled at the idea of giving in to human demands, most leaders knew it was the only way to avoid destruction. Across human space, people celebrated quietly. There were no huge parades, no grand speeches. Humanity knew the galaxy was still watching, still waiting for a sign of weakness. The fleet stayed ready. The hidden weapons remained armed, and Captain Darius Cole, standing once again on the bridge of the Resolute, watched the stars with a thoughtful expression. The Council had bent this time, but he knew peace would not last forever. Somewhere out there, another power would rise. Another leader would believe they could challenge Earth. And when that day came, humanity would be ready just as they had always been. Years passed after the day the Galactic Council accepted Earth's terms. The memory of the Dravik defeat still haunted alien leaders, and the image of the human fleet above Helion Prime had been burned into the minds of billions across the galaxy. No one dared to send a warship into human territory again. Trade routes that had once been monitored with suspicion were now left untouched, and human ships were given free passage through even the most guarded sectors. On many worlds, humans were now treated differently. Merchants greeted them with careful respect, speaking politely, even to the roughest space traders. Alien soldiers, once quick to mock humans for being a young species, now studied their tactics in military academies. Children in far-off colonies heard bedtime stories of Captain Darius Cole, the man who made the galaxy kneel without firing a single deadly shot at Helion Prime. Some stories painted him as a hero, others as a warning. But fear was not the only thing humans had earned. In some places, they had gained allies who admired their resolve. Frontier colonies far from the Council's control began asking for human protection. Not because they were forced, but because they knew Earth would stand and fight when others would surrender. This new influence spread quietly, and soon humanity had friends in places no one expected. Still, humanity did not drop its guard. Earth remained a fortress. The great orbital stations still circled above the blue planet. The planetary shields shimmered faintly in the atmosphere, and the hidden fleets stayed in place across the solar system. The Leviathan Protocol was not shut down, it was kept ready. The Cerberus war machines still trained in secret, their A's updated and sharpened. The Silent Sun devices were stored carefully, but every commander knew how fast they could be deployed if the need arose. Captain Cole had not retired. He knew peace in the galaxy was never permanent. From the bridge of the Resolute, he kept watching the stars, reading reports, and studying the small movements of alien fleets. Sometimes he saw the same patterns as before, the signs that someone, somewhere, was planning something in the far reaches of the galaxy. Whispers began to rise. Some alien rulers felt humiliated by the years of submission. They called Earth a tyrant that ruled through fear. They spoke in private meetings about uniting the galaxy against humanity, building a force so large that even Earth's hidden fleets would be outnumbered. It was dangerous talk, but it spread slowly, like the first sparks of a fire. The galaxy's people had mixed feelings. Some feared what another war would bring. Others wondered what might happen if humans truly unleashed everything they had kept hidden. There were even those who believed humanity had not yet shown its most dangerous weapon. Stories about the final card began to appear, rumors of something so powerful that even Captain Cole hoped it would never be used. Back on Earth, life seemed calm to ordinary citizens. Children went to school, markets bustled, and shuttles moved between cities and orbiting stations. But just under that calm surface, the military never slept. New warships were built in secret shipyards far from the eyes of the Council. Stealth probes explored deep space, mapping unknown systems that might one day be battlefields. Even the scientists were part of the defense, working on technologies so advanced that alien engineers would not even understand the first designs. Cole understood the truth. The galaxy respected Earth now, but it respected them out of fear. And fear could turn to hatred if the wrong leader came to power somewhere else. It was a balance, and one wrong step could shatter it. One evening, as Cole stood alone in the observation deck of the Resolute, he looked at the quiet beauty of the stars and thought about the future. Peace is a thin thread, he murmured to himself. It holds for now, but one day it will break. He knew that when it did, humanity would be ready. Not because they loved war, but because they had learned long ago that survival was never given. It was taken and defended. They would fight again if they had to, and they would fight to win. On distant alien worlds, children still asked their parents about the humans. "Are they really that strong?" they would say. And the parents would answer in hushed voices, "Stronger than you can imagine." Never make them angry. Never give them a reason. The galaxy had learned its lesson once. The question now was how long it would remember, because somewhere out there, in the shadows between the stars, the next challenge was already moving toward them. And when it arrived, Earth would be watching, silent, patient, and ready to stop holding back all over again.